So dear student, now we are in the second part of our lecture. In this video, we will discuss about the structure of ecosystem. The structure of an ecosystem is basically a description of organisms and physical features of environment, including amount and distribution of nutrients, in particular habitat. So यहाँ पे हम क्या देखेंगे? We will actually see the what sort of structure ecosystem has, and in what way the biological organisms or organisms and the physical environment, they interact each other, and how the food or the nutrients has been recycled, are being distributed, are circulated among the different organisms. So it is also provides information regarding the range of climatic condition prevailing in that area. So not only we will see the physical environment, we also see the nutrients circularity, nutrients movement from one to another habitats, and also we'll see in a structure we also understand the climatic condition of that area. So the structure of an ecosystem can be split into two main components, namely biotic and abiotic. You have already know about this. So the biotic and abiotic components are interrelated in an ecosystem. It is an open system where the energy and the components can flow throughout the boundaries. So what is happening here is the energy is being flowing from one to another part, from one direction to another area, or from one latitude to another latitude, from one place to another place. So it's all about the energy flow in that system. So this is the structure of ecosystem. In ecosystem, we have two components, abiotic components and the biotic components. In abiotic components, we have a climatic and adiaphtic. In climate, we have a rain, we have a light, solar radiation, we have a wind, and we have a temperature. At the same time, we have pressure and humidity also. In adiaphtic picture components, we have a soil, we have a pH scale, we have a minerals, and we have a topography of the land area, mineral composition or availability or of the presence of minerals. We have also see the pH scale of the soil. That and in a biotic components, we have a producer, we have a consumers, and we have a decomposer. So, or you can say producer, autotroph, and consumer, heterotrophs, and saprotrophs. So again, the biotic components have been subdivided in primary consumer, secondary consumer, and tertiary consumer, and the quaternary consumer. So this is the structure of the ecosystem in which the nutrients or food is being circulated or moved from one place to another. But this is all about the interaction of a biotic and the biotic components. So biotic components refer to all life in ecosystem based on nutrients. Biotic components can be categorized in the autotroph, heterotrophs, and saprotroph, or the decomposer. So producer, initial stage or initial is the producers. Producer include all autotrophs such as plants. They are all called autotroph as they can produce food through the process of photosynthesis. Consequently, all other organisms higher up on the food chain rely on the producer for the food. So we are being depending for the food on the producer. Who are the producers? Producers are mostly being called the plants. So plants provide us the energy on the food because they produce in the form of food. The number second is the consumers or heterotrophs, are organisms that depend on other organisms for food. Means they are not been producing, but they are been depending for the food on the other. So they are being called the consumer. They just consume the food. They just use the food, take the food. Consumers are further classified into primary consumer, secondary consumer, and tertiary consumer. Primary consumer are always herbivores that are rely on producer for the food. Secondary consumer depend on primary consumer for energy. They can either be carnivorous or omnivorous. वो जो थे, they were herbivorous, and they were eating the plants, directly grass or the plant. The secondary consumers are being taking, or they are being called carnivorous or omnivorous. Carnivorous means they are being taking or being using the meat or flesh of. tertiary consumer are organisms that depend on secondary consumer of the food. So tertiary consumer can also be omnivorous. So, and the quaternary consumers are present in some food chains. These organisms prey on tertiary consumer for the energy. So what happens here? इनके लिए कोई और शिकार करता है, and they are being taking their food, that stuff or that food जो शिकार किया हुआ है. So furthermore, they are usually at the top of food chain as they have no neutral predators. Decomposers, the last one, so include the saprophytes such as fungi, and the bacteria. So these are the decompose. They break down the food. So they directly thrive on dead and decaying organism matters. जो organism मर चुके हैं, खत्म हो चुके हैं, उनको they are being using as the source of food for them. तो उनको वो यूज करते हैं, उनको वो खाते हैं. So decomposers are essential for ecosystem and they help in recycling nutrients to be reused by the plant. So वो क्या करते हैं? They use directly the dead and decaying stuff or organic matter. Now comes to the abiotic components. Abiotic components are the non-living components of ecosystem. It includes air, water, soil, nutrients, minerals, sunlight, temperature, wind, altitude, turbidity. So they all are being called the physical environment, or the elements of a physical environment. They are very important. They are being basic or essential for life. You can't think without the air or the water. So they are very important. And soil also provide you the food, means soil which support the plant. So you do agriculture, you carry agriculture on the soil. We have also minerals. Sunlight is the key here for all. So without sunlight, there is no process of photosynthesis. Temperature also, very important. So it is because of the fluctuation of temperature, variation of temperature, that we have a different phenomena or different component, different features on the earth. At the same time, we have a different seasons on the earth. So this is all very important for us abiotic components which support the life. Now we comes to the functions of the ecosystem. What are the functions of ecosystem? How it works? So ecosystem, it regulates the essential ecological process, supports life system and renders stability. So without the ecosystem, you can't think about the survival or maintenance of life. So जो आप ये पूरा ecological process देख रहे हैं, जहाँ पे you have a maintenance of life or stability of life or stability of the things, it is because of the ecosystem. तो ecosystem में क्या होता है? They support each other. It regulates, it drives the system, which is being, or drive the the relationship between the biotic and abiotic components or the elements. It is also responsible for the cycling of nutrients between biotic and abiotic components. So ecosystem में जो मैंने पहले आपको कहा कि nutrients जो है वो cycled होते हैं from bottom to top, from top to bottom, and they are being circularly recycling. So जो nutrients होते हैं, जो food होता है, is being recycling. So is that, as we discussed earlier, we have a producer, we have a consumer, we have a decomposer. So because of these all components, the food is being recycled in different forms. The ecosystem maintains a balance among the various trophic level in the ecosystem. So if we don't have ecosystem, there would have been an imbalance in the system. So it maintains the balance by securing or by taking on board all the segments of the environment. So it cycles the minerals through the biosphere. The abiotic components helps in synthesis of organic components that involve the exchange of energy. So here the energy also being exchanged. As I told you, like if you take the example of gases, like carbon and the oxygen. So oxygen and carbon, they have a different process for animals for the plants, in the plants also. So plants, they inhale the oxygen and exhale they inhale the carbon dioxide and exhale ऑक्सीजन। तो यानी कि वो कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड लेते हैं और ऑक्सीजन निकालते हैं, और इंसानों के लिए वो जो है इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो इट इज बीन डिफरेंट. सो व्हाट वी द ह्यूमन बीइंग और ऑर्गेनिज्म व्हाट दे डू, दे इनहेल ऑक्सीजन एंड एक्सहेल कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड. तो यहाँ पे भी आप देख सकते हैं कि ये हाउ these components are being synthesized in the ecosystem. So it was all about the ecosystem. I hope you understood what we discussed in the lecture. So if you like my videos, please subscribe and also share with your friends. So till, take care of yourself. For